Well, I certainly invite people to look at my website, to look at my fiscal plan. We have to have fiscal planning, and it has to be disciplined. What we can't do is we can't rely on windfall revenues that come from things like land sales, and we have to acknowledge that some of our revenue is very volatile because it's based on resources. What we need to do is stick to a fiscal plan and not be tempted to spend money in year off budget. And in that way, if we do that, if we are disciplined, we can actually raise the level of the Heritage Savings Trust Fund to $40 billion within the next 10 years. So better planning and the ability to stick to that plan is how we're actually going to spend our money more intelligently, more wisely. We already spend a lot of money in healthcare and education. We need to make sure that every single dollar is respected for the hard work that created it, and that we spend it wisely and we plan sensibly.
Well, our fiscal plan right now, most importantly, needs to stop relying so heavily on non-renewable resource revenue. So we know last year that we relied on $9 billion of non-renewable resource revenue in our budget. We can cut that back to $6 billion. We're still going to be able to deliver our programming because we have to deliver programs better. Albertans know that social programs need to be integrated, that healthcare and education and mental health are all pieces that we need to use to support families better. And when we do that, we're going to be able to take the savings that we've made and put that back into the Heritage Trust Fund, continue to build the Sustainability Fund, and have infrastructure opportunities in the future. But in order to do that, we have to be smart about the way we're delivering government, and we have to be sensible about providing programs that are actually serving the needs of Albertans.
It doesn't matter to me what any of the other candidates propose. The challenge we're going to have with our fiscal situation is that we haven't had a discussion about it, and we've been living on these old wives' tales and misinformation for close to 2 decades now. Most people in this province don't realize that out of all the corporate and personal income tax we collect, it only pays for 80% of health care. That's another 20% of health care not paid for. That's not education, advanced education, the environment, agriculture. It's not for seniors. It's not for AISH. It's not schools, roads, and hospitals. We rely on royalty revenue, federal transfers, gambling, alcohol, cigarettes. And so we have to have a serious discussion about the realities of our fiscal situation before anybody goes along and proposes what we're going to do, because I don't care whether you say raise taxes or cut programs or some combination of both, Albertans won't be happy because they're not aware of the fiscal situation. Information first, and then we can make a wise decision together.
Do you know, the reality is the Alberta fiscal situation is the best in the Western Hemisphere. We have more than $25 billion in savings today. Your company, AIMCO, manages over $70 billion a year. We are paying for items of infrastructure that have 40-year lifespans with cash, and we have a balanced operating budget. In fact, we have a small surplus in our operating budget. Today, what we need to do is have fiscal responsibility, not fiscal restraint. This is an opportunity, a once-in-a-generational opportunity for Alberta to invest for the future and create new economies and new wealth in the province that will be the tax base of the future. Because that's where we have to move to, is a new tax base that's more diversified, that is centered in the province around corporate tax and personal tax, and we don't have to raise taxes to get there, we have to invest. I'm a firm believer that if we managed and leveraged our balance sheet the way every business does, the way every household does, we can build what we need today, we can save for tomorrow, and we can operate the programs and services that are important to you.
My view is that we don't have a spending we have a spending problem. We don't have a revenue problem. I believe that $35 billion is a lot of money for the province of Alberta to have in their budget. I think we can spend that responsibly. I am against tax increases. I'm against a provincial sales tax. I believe we live within our means, and I believe Albertans want us to live within our means. So my view is fiscal responsibility is first and foremost in my leadership campaign, and it is my approach going forward as I lead a government. And it's simple for me to do that because the number one principle of our party is fiscal responsibility. Our party members expect that.
The good news is that we do not have to have radical slashes to program spending to get back to a balanced budget. If we can grow our economy, which we're on track to do for the next few years at 3 to 3.5%, and then retain spending, exercise spending restraint, keep our spending at around 1.5% to 2%, basically population plus inflation, we can get back to a balanced budget by 2013. So we do have to exercise restraint, slow growth in government spending, but as long as we continue to build on economic recovery, I see us back to a balanced budget by 2013, rebuild our sustainability fund then so we have the shock absorber for future ups and downs, and after that, of course, start rebuilding the Heritage Savings Trust Fund. But I think I'm the only candidate that's made a balanced budget by 2013 a key priority.